So I've just seen on KYOSHO's website they've released a new monster truck. Well, it's not new, but it's kind of new. They've basically discontinued the Mad Crusher, which was solid axle TVP monster truck, probably last year now, and everyone was sad that they'd got rid of it. But now they've re-released it as the USA-1, which you can see here. Looks amazing. They've got new tyres, new body, ultra detailed, both electric and nitro versions. So they have got a bit of history here on the website, which I'll leave in the description. Both of them have got the same body. You can see all the detail on here with the bumpers and the mirror and the carburetors there. And the roll bar looks epic. You can see all the different angles as well. It's even got a separately fitted front grille. And the roll bar. So you can see the carburetor bit isn't actually attached to the body, it's attached to the body post. And same with the front bumper as well. So it has got new monster truck tyres, which is pretty cool looking. So we're going to look at the Nitro version first. So you can see here they're still using the 5-link setup. So normally if you wanted to have this as a 4-link, the links would have to be triangulated to stop the axle moving sort of from side to side. But instead this has a panhard bar. So that's why it's a 5-link suspension, not a 4, because you can see both the upper and lower links are straight on this. You can see it does have aluminium hexes as well. And the steering system on these is quite interesting because the servo's near the front, but then it goes to the middle and then back to the front again. So I don't know how good that is. And it does have universal drive shafts, front and rear. Front one's quite a bit shorter. Also has a wheelie bar, and you can see the top speed is 63 kilometers an hour. So 63 kilometers an hour is about 39 miles an hour, I think, nearly 40. This is with a 3-speed, which we'll get onto in a minute. Got 4-gear differentials like any modern truck should have now. Look at that. Looks amazing there, the old Mad Crusher tyres there. And it also says they've done something to the engine. So it doesn't say exactly what they've done to make it more powerful, but it does say they've made the carburetor better on the low speed needle. So that's cool. And they've also got this weird braking carb restrictor as well. And I believe the head before was black and now it's sort of this beigey colour. Using a 3-piece clutch, which is nice, and you can get different clutch springs as well if you want. Obviously to start with, you're going to want to use the standard clutch probably. So it's got a 3-speed automatic gearbox. It's not really enclosed on these, it's open, and you've got 3 gears on the shaft and then a chain drive putting it down to the output. And then you've got a 3-speed bell on the actual engine there as well. So it doesn't have a gearbox like HPI Savage or a Thunder Tiger MT4 or a associated MGT. It does have ball bearings, but unfortunately they're metal shielded. And it looks like it just has a single brake disc rather than 2. But obviously it's got no center diff, so that's fine. And you can get some option parts as well, which I think are the same as they were for the Mad Crusher. So you've got your 4-wheel steer kit. You can get universal drive shafts. I think these are for the inside of the axle. And then you've also got aluminium panhard bar braces, because I think these are plastic out the box, which isn't great. And you've got an aluminium wheelie bar. I don't know why you'd get that really. and the more expensive shocks. But I wonder if an MP9 or MP10 shocks would fit. If you got the right length, they'd probably be better than even these upgraded ones. Guessing it's quite a bit wider than a Nitro Crusher because of these wider wheels and tyres. The Nitro Crusher was quite narrow, and I think quite a few people ended up putting extended hexes on it. And yeah, it says it runs for 9 minutes, so I don't know what capacity the fuel tank is, but it does give you the gear ratios for first, second and third, which is pretty nice. And you've got the 43 ring gear and the 13 tooth pinion in the axle there, which I think is the same as before. And it is 17mm hexes as well, which is good. So that means you've got lots of wheels and tyre options, although you have to be careful on this truck, because if you have too much offset on the inside of the wheel, it can quite easily rub on the lower links when you're turning. Pipe does come out at a weird angle on these as well. It's pointing down quite a lot, and it is just a normal pipe with a coupler on it, a rubber coupler. So if you replace that, you could get a bit more performance, but you might have to adjust the exhaust hanger. So now we're looking at the electric version. You can see it's very similar to the Nitro version, other than here you can see it's got the battery packs on the side. So it's 4S LiPo compatible, so you're going to have two 2Ss either side. No 6S on this truck. So here's the difference. They've upped the motor from a 2000 kV to 2300 kV. So it will go a bit faster than the old one, I guess, but obviously that depends on the gearing as well. So I don't know why they've put this. And it looks like a Max 10 SCT speed controller. It's 120 amps, 4S. You can see it's got two caps on there. So this is actually a temp scale ESC with a 4068 motor, which is a buggy size motor, 1/8 scale buggy that is. So it's probably going to be quite undergeared, I would have thought. And you can see the electric version only has a single transmission, and they've moved the motor forwards onto the other side as well, and the shaft is completely bare, and then the spur gear is right next to the chain drive on that. So that is interesting. It's also got a slipper clutch, which is good because the electric motor will probably destroy everything, even though it's not quite that powerful. So it does look like the battery trays are pretty small. It does look like it's only taking like Tamiya or 7.2 volt nickel metal pack sized lipos, which is a bit disappointing. Battery trays don't look like the best quality plastic either. I could see all these hinges and stuff breaking, although they are held in with body pins on either side. So for the brushless truck, the only real differences, again, it says here a 16 tooth pinion and a 42 tooth spur gear. So I'll take a look at the gear ratios and see what the old one was. It might have been the same. Obviously the rest of the chassis is the same. And the top speed it's saying is only 57 kilometers an hour, which is about 35 miles per hour. And it says the runtime is 9 minutes, but that's irrelevant because it depends what battery you put in it. So the differential is a 1343, I think it was. Yeah, 1343, which is same as a Team Associated RC8B. It's like 3.30 whatever to 1. The transmission gear is the one that's on the chain. So that's the one up here is 12 and the one down here is 26. Oh, sorry, 11 and 26. So that's 2.3 to 1. And then we've got the spur gear, which is 42, and the pinion gear, which is 16. And then obviously your fully charged 14.8 volt battery, or your two 4.7s. will be at 16.8 when fully charged. And with this truck not being very highly geared, I would expect it to not have a lot of voltage drop. So you're going to be running pretty much, the full voltage, and you'll get a bit of tire expansion as well. The tires are 6.5 inches in diameter and the motor's 2300 kV. So the maximum theoretical speed of this truck is actually 36.4. So they're saying 35, which is fair enough. And you can see if you stick a 22 pinion on this, it'll do 45. As long as the ESC can handle it. I'd probably upgrade the ESC in this truck to a 150 amp. And then you can go with an 18 tooth for a bit more, or maybe even a 19 or 20. I think once you start getting up to like a 22, if that'll even fit on the motor mount, that'll probably be silly. Another thing I didn't mention earlier as well is this is actually a twin motor mount. You can see the other plate here where the second motor used to fit when it was brushed. So that was pretty amusing. You could also go with a faster motor as well. So say you upgraded to one of those Castle motors, which is 2650 kV on 4S, and kept the same gearing, you'd get 42 miles an hour. If you went with a 6S system, if you're stupid, because that probably won't go very well, we'll do like a Armour BLX 185. On 4S, you'd only be getting 31, which would be a bit boring. So I'll go up to 25 volts, which is 6S. You'd be getting 47 on a 6S BLX. And then on a 2200 kV, which is like what you get on a Hobby Wing, a Max 8 combo, or a Castle, you'd be getting 51. That's probably too fast for a solid axle truck. It'll be a bit uncontrollable. So yeah, at that point I wouldn't really run this truck on 6S, to be honest. I mean, at the 16.8 volts you'd be getting 35, so I'd probably go with a 22 pinion on there if it'll fit. Don't know about that. What if we can only put an 18 on? 39, that's not too bad for a solid axle truck again. So you can mess around with this a bit if you want. This you can see the website up there. So I'll have a look at the Nitro one next. Right, I've gone through and worked out all the speeds in each gear for the 3-speed in the Nitro version as well. So on the right hand side, obviously we've got the speed here. So the transmission and the differential ratio is the same as the electric truck. And in first gear, well, I'll just tell you how I know this to start with. There's this 3-speed clutch bell on the KYOSHO website, and this is MA011D. And on eBay, I found this guy selling a C version. I don't know whether this is exactly the same thing, but this is for the Mad Force. The first gear is 14, second 17, and the 23rd gear. So I've used those numbers for the D part. I don't know whether these have got an extra tooth on them or what, but it seems to work out to about what they say the top speed should be for the truck, which is 63 kilometers an hour, with the engine spinning at 32,000 RPM, which I thought was about the max you're going to get out of a RTR engine. Quite reasonable. It's not some crazy race engine, so you're not expecting mega RPM. Got 14 tooth and 46 tooth spur in first, so I've just put in 10 and 3200 on the voltage just to get the RPM to 32,000. Obviously it's a Nitro engine. The other thing to note as well is obviously you're not going to do 32,000 RPM before you shift into second, but this is just a theoretical maximum top speed in each gear. So in first, the max speed you're ever going to go without the engine exploding is 24 miles an hour. And then once you shift up in second, you've got a 1743. Still 32,000 RPM obviously. So this boosts it up to 31 miles an hour. And then third is quite a decent jump again with a 22 clutch bell and a 40 tooth spur gear. And I counted all the teeth on that stupid spur gear because it doesn't actually say on the part number like it does on the first and second. So it's doing 39.57, which you can see is 63.5 kilometers an hour. So I think they're rating this new engine, although they don't have official ratings on KYOSHO RTR engines for some reason. This new engine that they were on about here, they seem to rate it around 32,000 RPM. So yeah, there you go. 39 miles an hour. If you're going to get some crazy modified engine in here, just like 35,000 RPM, it's going to do 43. You get some bonkers race engine in here, bear in mind you can't use a starter box, so it's probably not going to happen. But you can, oops, I put too many zeros on there. There we go. So the most you're ever going to get out of this truck realistically is 50 miles an hour with some crazy modified, I don't know, you'd have to put like a Nova Rossi 21 that was modified, or maybe a Roma, but I don't know if you can even put a ball start on that, so, or a rotor start, and whether that'd rob too much power at that kind of RPM, who knows. But yeah, basically the Nitro truck is pretty quick. It's a decent speed for what it is, and you've got the 3 gears as well, so it'll sound epic as it's going through them. And being solid axle, you don't want to go mental fast. It is faster than the electric version already out of the box. And I think that'll be it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Goodbye.